Welcome to my channel. This is JC Rocky Metal Reviews. My name is John, and I'm going to be doing another Versus video today. I've been getting a positive response from my previous Versus videos, and today I'm going to be talking about some mid-90s grunge, or early to mid-90s grunge. Two bands, Nirvana and the Foo Fighters. So I wanted to talk about the Foo Fighters in anticipation of their new album coming out this weekend on February 5th, Medicine at Midnight, I believe it's called. So the two albums I'm going to be talking about are Nirvana's In Utero, which is Nirvana's last studio album, and the Foo Fighters' self-titled album, which was released in 1995. So they were released kind of like close together, and one major event that happened in between those two releases was the death of Kurt Cobain. So that was really a big influence on, the Foo Fighters album, which I will talk about in a minute. So let's talk about both albums, and then at the end I will give you my opinion, and I hope that you would give your opinion in the comment section. Let me know which album do you like better. So the first album I'm going to talk about is In Utero by Nirvana. This was released on September 13th, 1993. Now this showcased both like two extreme sides, like both like the raw side and like the candy pop side, as they called it. It had commercial and critical success, and it was definitely like a departure from the Nevermind album. Cobain recorded his vocals. They were kind of like very like raw. Like the producer didn't want to double his vocals. They wanted him to record in like a resident room, which kind of really brought out like his angst and a lot of his emotion. It was really a great vocal performance on this album. The original title was I Hate Myself and I Want to Die. That would have been like kind of like prophetic if they did titled it that. And another option they were thinking of was calling it Verse, Chorus, Verse, which was a song from Incesticide, I believe. They finally decided to call the album In Utero, and that's a poem that was written by Courtney Love, or it was taken from a poem, I'm sorry. So the first track is Serve the Servants. So this has a lot of like feedback and raw sound. So the first track is Serve the Servants. So this has a lot of like feedback, a very like raw sound. It didn't sound like anything off of like the Nevermind album. The lyrics were very personal. He starts off singing the line, "Teenage angst has paid off well, now I'm bored and old." So you hear a lot of like Cobain's like personal lyrics on this song and on this album. Another track, Scentless Apprentice. So this is another very raw sounding song. The song in general more reminiscent of something like from their like Bleach album. The riff, it's like a metal riff. It's very heavy. Cobain uses like a lot of screams in a vocal delivery. Their big hit was Heart-Shaped Box. This was the lead-off single. More traditional, sounded more like something off of like Nevermind. Uses the clean verse, heavy chorus format. It's in drop D tuning. It kind of gave like a slightly different sound, but this was very much like a Nevermind sounding song. Rape Me was another hit. It's a very controversial song topic. It was very controversial at the time, but it is one of their classics. Pennyroyal Tea, that's another great song. It's another one that sounds like it could have been off of Nevermind, but it's a little more raw, and it's really great vocal performance on this one. And then there's All Apologies. So this is one of the favorites from their Unplugged album. The original riff has a clean guitar and like a drop D tuning, and it uses the clean verse, heavy chorus format. And this track really stands out. Really shows Kurt Cobain's inner pain coming out in his vocal performance. So next is the Foo Fighters. Now this one was after the death of Kurt Cobain. Dave Grohl, he went into a really deep depression, and he got a few offers to join bands. Like Tom Petty gave him an offer. I think Danzig did also, but he turned him down. He really wasn't ready to play. Now, kind of like as a coping mechanism, he decided to just record some songs in his house. He had demos that were on an 8-track recorder. He recorded an album, and it started gaining buzz, and he was eventually signed to Capitol Records. He wrote the lyrics to all the songs, and he wrote all the songs, and he recorded all the instruments. He recorded the album pretty much by himself, but he just had the aid of a producer. His name is Barrett Jones. He originally just recorded 100 cassette tapes, but eventually, the word got out, and he created the band, the Foo Fighters. 9 of these songs were already recorded, before or during his time with Nirvana, and they were kind of all like demos on an 8-track in his home. So let's look at the songs. We have This Is a Call. This is a pretty straightforward grunge song, and this one could have even been like a Nirvana song. It has that sound to it. We have I'll Stick Around. Now this one sounds a little bit more like a Nirvana song also, because it uses like the clean verse and the heavy chorus. But then we got a track like Big Me. This was very popular on MTV. They had a music video for it. It was kind of like a parody of the Mentos commercial that was popular at the time. But this has like a different sound. Like Dave Grohl is really finding a sound on this track in general. You hear it, like he uses some alternate chord progressions and things like that. And he's really finding his sound here. We have Alone plus Easy Target. This one has a lot of feedback. It's very grungy. This is sounds like more like the later day In Utero Nirvana sound almost. We have Floaty. So this one, Dave creates his own sound on it. It doesn't really sound like Nirvana at all. It a lot of loud guitars with melodic singing, and it really captured that 90s alternative rock sound of the day. 4 Cows. This is a great song. It was released as a single in the UK and Europe, if I'm correct. It's very jazzy. It's an acoustic song, but it also gets heavy later on. So this is definitely a song you should check out. It's called 4 Cows. And the final track is Exhausted. The last track on the album is super fuzzy, very distorted, a lot of feedback. Sounds something more like Sonic Youth or something, but it's a very strange mix. Dave's vocals are kind of a little low in it, but I don't know, for some reason it really works. It's very a grungy song that's called Exhausted, and another great track. You should check it out. So this is a difficult choice for me. I really like both albums. Back in 1993, I was listening to In Utero a lot throughout '94. The Foo Fighters, probably didn't get into them until a little later on. I think I wasn't really, I guess I kind of moved on to other things after Kurt Cobain died. I like both albums, and it's really close for me, but I'm going to choose In Utero as my favorite. But let me know what you think. Do you like the Foo Fighters better, or do you like In Utero better? So let me know. As I said, comment below. And that's it for this album. I'll be talking about the Foo Fighters a little more this week. I'll probably do another versus video for 2 of their albums. I have an accept ranking video, which would include the new one. And that I'm going to get out sometime this week, because over the weekend I usually do new releases and have some new stuff coming. So here, check out some of my other versus videos there to check out. And other than that, I will see you in the next one.